grappling hook.
I brought a girl along. I'm like, how much do you weigh? And she's like 108. And I was like, you weigh a little bit more than 108. Hello, friends. Welcome to User Friendly, the show that talks about technology.
That's true.
Stuff on the web.
That's true.
Mars.
Occasionally Mars.
And wolves.
And wolves from time to time. Hey, look, I have a little wolf shirt.
My name is Roberto. I am the owner of a company called Throwboy, and today I'm here with my friend
Erfon Elijah. Today, I'm here every show.
Yeah, I know.
And I'm the writer for Cultimac, and I own a little indie brand called Might Teas. I also do another little podcast you may have heard of called The Cultcast. And, but boy, I'm excited to be here.
Yeah.
I have a stain on my pants.
It's your smoothie.
I don't think so.
But anyway, yeah, how are you, man?
I am good. Dude, long weekend.
Really, really long week.
Yeah, so we both are coming off convention. So as proprietors of Geeky Wares, both of us go and do conventions from time to time. And it's definitely con season. So usually we do Comic-Con.
Mm-hmm.
I just did Geek Girl Con. And you basically go set up shop for an entire weekend. You take all of your stuff and you sell for 2 or 3 days, and then you break everything down and come home. Mm-hmm. And it was a freaking ton of work.
Yeah, it's fatiguing.
It is definitely fatiguing.
You're just like, you have to be constantly on, constantly ready to like talk to people the whole time, And
it's so true.
And I am a very reserved guy.
Yeah.
So I don't want to talk to nobody.
Yeah, me either, but I have to.
No, you're not.
I am. I go through I love dealing with people. I love talking with people, but it does take my energy away. And like on yesterday, actually, I just did not want to talk to anybody. Like nobody. I didn't want to call anyone. And all these things I needed to do, and I'm like, I'm not doing anything. Like I don't care. Like I can't do this today. Like I'm just talked out.
Uh-huh.
I need to recharge the old batteries.
Go surfing and everything. Right?
I went surfing, grab the slice, But hey, we're gonna definitely talk about the cons because I want to hear about your con.
Yep.
And I know you want to hear about my con. But before we do that,
let's get into our sponsors.
Oh, this week's show is sponsored by Ted's Plumbing Company.
Here's what your toilet looks like.
Was this stuck in your toilet? Now it won't be. Your toilet will flush fine.
All right, that's good.
That's great.
Right, good sponsor.
Excellent. I want to talk about Kickstarter for a moment because we were talking actually before the show started about the fact that PAX, or I should say the Penny Arcade guys, are doing a Kickstarter. Mm-hmm. And have you ever actually just browsed the Kickstarter website?
Mm-mm.
I had never done that either until last night.
Maybe I did when it came out, but not really, no.
Okay, so I never really ever go to Kickstarter. The only time I ever go to it is when when I hear about something that's cool, mm-hmm. and I see a link and I click it and it takes me directly to that project. I've never gone to the homepage and like browsed through to stuff. Mm-hmm. So I did that last night for the first time, and I found a project for Penny Arcade, and those are the guys who do PAX Prime. It's the huge video game convention, and they also have a comic that they do called the Penny Arcade,
right,
that they've been doing for years and years and years. And they were doing a Kickstarter, and I thought it was really interesting because they're trying to raise money to be user funded, mm-hmm. not user friendly, mm-hmm. lest you be confused. And they were like, that's how we used to do things, and we want to be funded by our users again because they're sponsored by all these sponsors, and they have ads on their site, and they just don't want to do it anymore. Yeah. And I just thought it was so interesting because I'm like, when you podcast, not this podcast, or when you do anything online, it's like that's primarily how you make your money,
right?
Through sponsorships. I thought it was kind of weird, and I know you said you thought it was kind of weird too.
Yeah.
That they would go from their sponsorship model to doing a Kickstarter.
Yeah, totally. Because that's kind of like the goal, right? When you start out, when you start doing anything independent, you're
as soon as you go to YouTube, you got to turn on your sponsorship thing, right?
Well, you started a podcast pretty much on your own, and then your goal was to get it funded in some way by sponsors, right?
Yeah, exactly. Because that's how you get paid for stuff.
Right. And so my question first off is like, what do you need a Kickstarter to do this? It's not like you're gonna raise one chunk and be like, cool, we're good to go. Like, we got money for life.
Well, that's exactly my thing too.
What are they actually paying for?
So they had a roadmap, and they're like, if we raise this much, we're taking the banner ad off our website. If we raise this other amount, then we're going to take ads off this other page entirely. And so with every bit of money, with every goal that they meet, they're going to be taking down ads. Because I think the whole idea is that everyone hates ads, no one likes them, which I think is debatable. But they don't really want to have to deal with ads anymore, so they want to be user funded.
Do they have like a bad experience with one of their ad people? Because like, who cares? You go to so many websites nowadays. I'm not like, man, Cultimac fucking blows because it has ads on the side.
Yeah,
I can't even read anything. It's
I mean, some sites are definitely like that.
Very few.
But very few are that bad, yeah.
And like, I don't think PAX has ever been something where I'm like, man, that comic blew because I had an ad on the side. You know?
I mean, honestly, does anyone even pay attention to ads anymore? I mean, I never click on ads.
No,
ever.
And I watch YouTube a lot, and I'll just mute right away if they have a pre-roll. And by the way, if you have like 100, 200 subs, don't put on fucking pre-roll ads. Ever. If you don't have an audience, do not try to nickel and dime your way to getting money.
Yeah,
like,
it's really
not gonna
bad.
work.
You gotta wait till you're Guy Justine before you start trying to do that, for sure. Well, here's my take, and I think I have maybe kind of an opposing perspective, because I'm working with advertisers now for the Cult Cast. And some advertisers are cool, some advertisers aren't as cool, some advertisers just want to give you money to pimp their product.
Yeah.
Some advertisers want to actually have a relationship with you, so there's a gamut there. When I started the Cult Cast, we weren't doing ads, of course, because we were new, and we probably could have started with ads, but I kind of made the decision right when we started. I was like, until this show is good enough and has enough people listening to it, like, we're just not even going to worry about that. So now we do have advertisers, and it's great because now we're actually pulling in some revenue, which is, important to keep the show going.
Yeah.
And but in all honesty, like, I would rather not do any ads. And that's kind of how they felt, and that's one of the things that they were talking about. Like, you're kind of beholden to these advertisers in a way, because it's like let's say an advertiser gives me money to talk about the product. If it was really bad, I would say no.
Right.
But let's say I wasn't super enthusiastic about it, I would probably still promote it, but I would never be able to be critical of it, right? Because they have paid me to talk about the good things of their product, not all of it. Like, I don't get paid to be critical. I get paid to promote what's actually good about it.
True, but like Dignation, they would do ads, and if like Netflix was in the news with some messed up thing, they would still be like weighing in on their
I would talk about that, but like, my advertisers aren't going to be in the news, like, I don't have Netflix-sized advertisers.
Yeah, but if you did, you would still do that? Because you just said that you wouldn't talk bad about them.
Well, I wouldn't volunteer that information in a conversation.
Right. Well, because that's just advertising.
That's advertising, and even Kevin and Alex said that on, I think, one of the last Dignations. They're like, when you bring in advertisers, everything changes, and I don't think that's necessarily true. It's not like the whole show changes, but it's like, you get into a flow. And you're having a good show, and then you have to break from that to do a freaking advertisement.
I see. I think we were having this conversation about just ads being annoying and obtrusive, like especially in podcasts. Like, I listen to a fair amount, and I don't know. It's just gotten to me, like, where I just fast forward through them, And on the new podcast app, they have a 30-second skip, and I'll just skip right through.
Yeah, I think probably a lot of people do that.
And then we had the conversation, like, would you pay $1 or $2 for every new show of your favorite podcast? And we were kind of like, yes, and our friend was like, no way, And I think there's definitely people that are like, yes, and people that would just drop right off. I don't think it's just an easy fix to have it just all of a sudden be completely funded by the people that like it. I think people are just used to not paying for shit,
Yeah, that's definitely true. I mean, I have been thinking about doing a user supported type model for Cultcast, and it's still something that we might do. But it's like, when you ask 100,000 people for money, it's like, how many people actually give you money? Maybe 2,000?
Yeah,
maybe 3,000.
Because people aren't used to paying for content in general. I mean, there's especially techie people. There's so many ways around ever paying for anything, right?
Yeah. I totally get that. So, I mean, and I think, you know, that's just the way things are, the way things are going. So it's like, for me to see a Kickstarter from the Penny Arcade guys, I'm like, they've already raised $500,000. Like, that's a lot of money.
I think if anything, it's just like it's been tried a few times here and there, and it's always been like an experiment. Unless you're like a huge name who can be like, yeah, we're charging, and if you don't want us, then you're not going to have us anymore. Like
HBO.
Yeah, or like podcast wise, like Ricky Gervais. He does a podcast, but he puts it in the audiobook section because that's how he makes money. That's how he actually can justify that people can download it. Yeah. And he can do that. I mean, he can just charge, you know?
Well, he's a huge celebrity.
Yeah. And then, or like when Howard Stern used to be on free radio and he went to satellite radio, he's like, he let everyone know, like, I'm going to go to satellite. If you want me, you have to pay for me now, you know? And some people went, but a lot of people did not go, you know?
Yeah, that's true. A lot of people didn't. But, you know, there's something to be said about that. It's like, well, let's say you have 10 million users who want to listen for free, but you have 1 million listeners who are willing to pay you $10 a month to listen to you. It's like, dude, that's you may have less listeners, but now you're actually generating revenue, which is important for any business. And you know, podcasting is a business. It's like, you know, like, there are people who do it for free. That's true. And we've done the Callcast for free for a while before we ever started taking money. But at a certain point, if you want to grow, it's like, and if you want to, you know, pay your bills, it's like you have to start charging. And I think that's okay. It's just how to do it, you know?
Yeah.
Maybe I'll do a Kickstarter. You can, if you pay $1,000, I'll fly to your house and do the Callcast from your living room. Ooh. That's really cool. For $10,000, I'll do it in your bathtub with you.
And for $100,000, he'll take you surfing.
For $100,000, I'll take you surfing. Although you may not come back alive.
I don't know. Kickstarter, I have sort of like, you know, we talk about Kickstarters and Indiegogos on the show, and sometimes they just have like I don't know. I have sort of a bad taste in my mouth for some of them because sometimes it just feels like there's no real end game to it, you know, in some of them. Or if there is, it's like a fictitious one for some of them, you know, like that camera that we talked about.
Right.
Where they don't really know where they're going to go with it. Unless it's like a definitive, like, we are recording an album in the springtime and we want to get money to fund it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, it's much easier with products. It really is. For services or for ideas, it's like... Yeah, like, what are you even paying for?
I don't understand why Penny Arcade, maybe I'm getting the facts wrong, but why do they have to, like, flip on a dime and be like, we're going to start it, this is how we're going to do it? Why can't they just gradually start taking donations and promoting the donation side of it, you know? Like,
I don't know.
Do you like us? Donate to us, you know?
Maybe because the Kickstarters work, first of all, and second of all, like, it's a community. It's like you're getting a community, not just a bunch of cash, which is one of the things I like about it, too.
But they have a community. They're not like some unknown thing that's a cool product, and then everybody under the sun is trying to fund it. They have a community, and people that have a community can put up, like, a donation button, you know what I mean? Because people go to that website and they trust the content creators, you know? Like, there's content creators that I know, like Cinemassacre is a website I go to a lot, and they have a donation button, and they, you know, there's always buzz going on in the comments. Like, people donate because they actually feel like they have a relationship with that content creator.
Interesting.
So I don't understand why they have to go outside of it, you know? People that go outside of it are people that do Kickstarters are usually just unknowns, you know?
Yeah, and they don't have a community and they need one. Yeah, that's a good point. I don't know. I mean, maybe they just thought they needed to do a campaign, and the campaign, you know, it's like Channel 9 or, you know, like public television or public radio. Like, they're always doing campaigns to raise money because there's always a need for money, and it's like the only way to get it is to do a campaign and be like, hey, this is a campaign. We need your money, you know, like blah, blah, blah. So maybe that's their way of doing that. I don't know. But, you know, as we were mentioning before the show, I'm surprised they're not making enough from doing Penny Arcade Expo, which is the giant video game exposition they do on both the West and the East Coast, which pulls in 100,000 people. Yeah. I mean, I really wonder how much money they're making from that. I mean, that's an insane amount of people. They should be making millions of dollars from that each year. Probably. I mean, you would think, right? I mean, my gosh. Let's say you sell 90,000 tickets at $60 each. Let me pull out my calculator here, and then you double.
Show your tickets.
And then you double. Yeah, here's my ticket serial number, and then you double that. You know, because you're doing probably that same amount of business. Let's see. So times, let's say $60. So that's $5.4 million. And then you have the exhibitors paying you money too to be there, and then you have that on both coasts. And you minus, you know, like the $1 million or $2 million for running the con, and the event, and I have no idea if these numbers are right,
Yeah.
but like, dude, it's like you're at least making $1 million, right? You're not breaking even.
I'm sure
on
they're
this.
not losing money, but yeah, I don't know.
Anyway, I thought that was an interesting topic. I think the idea of Kickstarter is really fascinating. The fact that we have this website now where it's like very democratic and everything's crowdsourced. I should say crowdfunded. It's like, you know, if you have a good idea, it's like YouTube. You can rise to the top and become popular. You don't need investors or anything like that. But let's move on to our individual cons.
Okay.
So you went to a trade show. Oh my gosh, dude. I'm so sorry. This is so unprofessional.
I need to take that.
Are you calling him? Are you really? We have a special guest behind the curtain here. He's going to be coming out and dancing for you all in a moment.
So, yeah, I went to a trade show.
So you went to a trade show.
And you went to a convention.
Yeah, so explain what the difference between those.
Sure. So I went to something called the Seattle Gift Show over the weekend. Actually, trade shows are typically longer than the weekend. They spill out into the weekdays. But trade shows are primarily where different companies will set up their products and their whole product line in a convention floor, everything. But the main goal is that buyers go through, and they want to attract buyers to buy, wholesale of their products. So I've wanted to get in Throwaway Pillows into stores, and we've been in sort of like little stores here and there, but nothing like what I've never really focused on it, because we've always focused on web sales. And so I was like, man, I should really do something like that to actually get in front of buyers, to get in front of people that are talking about buying, in lots and stuff like that, not just like individual, like a convention is like a retail show,
Right.
So people buy one, people buy two, and then you may or may not know who they are or ever hear from them again. So it was a really totally different experience, and it was really kind of like a shocking experience at first because it was really, really different from what I was used to, which is I was like, oh, well, I kind of know how this works, But, man, I got schooled. Like, I didn't know anything about that whole experience as far as trade shows go. But I really ended up really liking it, and I think what I'm going to do is focus on doing trade shows now instead of doing cons. So, I could go into detail, but I guess maybe we should talk about your.
Well, let me ask you this. You kept saying trade shows are really different. How are they different? Okay,
so it's a much different kind of vibe as far as like everything is very businessy. Like, everyone has like their catalogs out. They are, everyone is trying to attract people instead of conventions where you just kind of set up your shop and people walk by and they're like, oh, I love that, and they start talking to you. People will walk by you, and if you don't like try to make any effort to like say hello, they'll just walk by you. It's very much like salesy. You have to be like on. You have to be like trying to start conversations. You have to have some sort of hook to talk to them, And it's really weird because I was like, really, my stuff always just sells like itself,
Yeah, right.
People just walk up and they like it, and it was not like that. People. I was just kind of learning. I was watching the people like do their little sales techniques, and then they would get orders, and it was like interesting. I was like, dang, like I think it's because they were telling me that some of the people aren't really like they have to be sold on like why they should carry this kind of thing, like what is the story behind it. That also helps, but that helps at cons too. But what do you call it? Like I was in the handmade section, and I often hear people talking about like what went into how they started and everything like that. And yeah, I don't know. It was different in that regard. I'm trying to think of like what
it was
else.
also much slower paced too, right? Because cons can be very hectic. Like especially like Emerald City Comic Con, it's like masses and masses of people constantly coming at you, throwing their money in your face.
Yeah, and that's the thing is like this convention I was told was slower than other conventions because some of the people I've talked to have done this for years and they were used to going, or they've gone to like Las Vegas and they're like, oh yeah, that's like just constant traffic the whole time. And what else was I gonna say? What else was different? I don't know. Do you have any like specific questions?
So overall, it was a success, right? You learned a lot, at least.
Well, it was a success in the fact that I learned more about just wholesale business, and people were talking about pricing. I was getting a lot of information about like, what things should be priced at, because I was talking to other people that did similar things like me. And And they're like, well, yeah, if you can get the price around here, then you could sell it for this much, and yada yada. And it was
interesting.
And then what else? Oh, and then I met some really cool people that gave me some contacts to some bigger stores and stuff like that. And they're like, oh yeah, we sell these kinds of things. Your stuff would probably work there. I'll give you their email if you want to contact them.
That's arguably very valuable.
Yeah.
Too.
And then I did get a sale for a store that wants to put them at their point of sale. So that was cool. The little throw babies, they want to make a display out of those and put it at their.
And when you make a sale, do you take the payment there or?
Yeah, that's interesting too. It's like people actually, it's very kind of old fashioned. People take those carbon sheets, where you peel off one for them and one for you, and it's very old fashioned. But I walked around and I was like, why don't you just take the payment or use Square, And they're like, no, because usually they want to do a net 30, so they'll actually pay you in 30 days. And you'll just take down their information, and you'll take down their credit card information, right there. But see, the big thing about the trade show I noticed is that everyone was telling me people want to be seeing you over and over. They want to not, they don't want to think that you are just a fly by night, maybe just there and you're trying it out and they're never going to hear from you again. They want to know that they want to see you pop up at different trade shows over and over.
Which is arguably the same with cons, right? I mean, people get to know your brand at these things.
It's true, but at cons, people didn't know us, and they bought stuff from us.
And that's very true, but this year, at Geek Girl Con, I had so many people be like, I bought this from you at last year's show. I heard that probably 20 times, and I'm like, whoa. Or people walk up, and they're looking at something, and then they looked up at our sign, and they're like, oh, Mike Tees, I've heard of you guys.
But I think it's a little different just because, they could be like, oh, these are really cool, and they could get a lot of information from you at a trade show, and then they'll walk.
Yeah.
They'll be like, well, and then you'll have to be like, oh, can I take your business card? You have to take their stuff,
Sure.
And you have to try to follow up with them, and that's the big important part of it. And yeah, that's the main thing. I was just like, man, I'm gonna try to take away from this as much knowledge as I can to try to apply it to the next show, because this show is totally I was underprepared. I didn't have enough information about Throwboy. I didn't have enough things that were selling Throwboy, because it wasn't just the product. They couldn't be sold on just the product alone. They had to be what do you do with it? Where does it go? Who's your demographic? Show pictures of people with them, all sorts of stuff.
Some guy awkwardly holding a pillow.
Well, it's true, man. They have to have that kind of thing of what, because not all the people that are going through are the decision makers. They're kind of some of them are just the people that have to gather the information. So if you can pitch them and actually get them interested, oh, I didn't think about that because I'm not 13 and I'm not gonna buy a throwaway pillow, but maybe this would work in our store. You know what I mean?
Interesting.
And they were telling me you should have all the publications that you guys have been in, blow those up and actually show. Look,
oh yeah,
we've
wow.
been around, and we're not just starting. It's not just a tiny little thing that just started yesterday.
Interesting.
So it's a lot of that. It's a lot of just sales pitchy stuff. And I'm not really that good at just being hey, OMG, I'm throwing it.
Hey, OMG, pal.
Yeah.
Want to place an order for the Throwboy pillows?
But from what after being there, it's just well, you kind of have to go to those. You have that's the best place to find people that are gonna buy your stuff in bulk.
If you're trying to get into stores,
and if I wanted to, I could go to Emerald City or Geek Girl Con and make a few thousand just selling one by one, but it doesn't really, it's more marketing than anything. It doesn't really amount to wow, now I got that buyer and now they can keep placing orders with me and I can keep following up and doing right by them to where they want to keep ordering from me, 'Cause that's what a lot of people were saying. They're once you get if you get into a good catalog or you get into a good store, you can just keep following up on that. Now you have them, and now when they run out of your product, they need you again,
Right.
So it was a lot of learning for me, a lot of learning. But it was slow at times, so I was oh, it's kind of boring. And the crowd, there was definitely an older crowd there, So I'm okay, I need to pick my trade shows a little bit more carefully because...
Well, you pay the stupid tax no matter what you do, right?
Yeah.
You always end up spending money that...
And we've done it. We went to
so many
Phoenix
times,
Comic-Con,
yeah. Which is funny because I did Geek Girl Con and our neighbors were telling me that Phoenix Comic Con was their best show ever.
Yeah.
And we went to Phoenix Comic Con and we were we just wasted a ton of money and a ton of time because we didn't make any money. So let me tell you a little bit about Geek Girl Con. It was fun. I mean, I always have such a great time at these cons. I'm sure you saw that picture of me hugging Chewbacca.
Yeah.
I tweeted it too. I don't know if you saw it. That's the kind of stuff I love about cons. It's like you get a bunch of people who are all into the same stuff. Like, I'm a huge sci-fi fan. I'm a huge fantasy fan. And to get around people who are dressing as those characters, they're dressing from characters from Star Trek, they're dressing from characters from Star Wars, and then all these other characters from all these other like graphic novels and stuff.
Yeah.
It's just cool. Everyone's having a really good time. Geek Girl Con's definitely grown since we went to it last year. The venue, I'd say, is probably 3 times bigger. And it just had a really good vibe to it. But the thing about cons that I just don't like, I always dread them because it's so much work.
Yeah.
We had to take, like hundreds of pounds worth of shirts and racks and, steel panels and all these things. And you basically have to go build a store in a 10 by 10 foot area and then man the store for 2 to 3 days, depending, on how long the con is. And it's just so much work. Like, I love being there. I love telling people about our products and I love selling stuff. But the setting up and the breaking down, I hate it. It is one of my least favorite things to do in the entire world. Like, I really hate doing that stuff.
Yeah.
And I don't like lifting stuff, and I don't like building freaking stores at 9 in the morning.
Yeah.
I just don't like any of that crap. So it's a mix for me. But we had a really good show, sold a lot of stuff.
Great.
And had a good time. And I'm excited for PAX, and I'm excited for Emerald City Comic Con especially, because that seems to be a really good show for both of us. So, and I just feel like when I'm at these cons, I just feel like I'm among my people. It's like being at Macworld. It's like, actually, no, I think I like it even more than being at Macworld, because the Macworld audience, if you've ever been there, is really old.
Yeah.
Like, it's like 40 plus the entire show. It's like, which is great for those old timers that go. It's like they want to talk about the Apple II GS. Yeah. And it's like, like, I don't want to sit around and reminisce about those machines. They had their heyday. It's gone now. But like at Geek Girl Con, it's like you get to hang out with young people who are into the same stuff you are.
Geeky girls.
Geeky ladies, because they're always sexy. The one thing I want to say about Geek Girl Con that I thought was really interesting is, we saw, I don't know what it is about this con, but I probably counted 10 people where I wasn't totally sure if they were men or women.
Oh, dude, I saw...
Really, really big, like, transgender audience. Like, I'm not sure... I saw a lot of men dressed as ladies. And, there's a lot of chubby people at these cons, too. So sometimes you're not sure if they're trying to be the opposite sex or if they just have moves.
I don't know, because I saw somebody at my trade show. I think they came over from yours, and it was definitely a girl with the mustache.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I don't know.
There was this person across from us in another booth who we thought was a woman. Well, no, we thought was a woman, and then found out that his name was Jim. And I was like, no, like, I'm pretty sure that used to be a woman, like, and then Jim started knitting, and I was like, what guy knits? Like, I have never seen a guy that knits ever. So it was kind of fun trying to figure out who was who. It's like a fun game. It's like Slug Bug.
Yeah. Yeah.
You never know what you're gonna see.
Such a different world, night and day. And I was told by a few people that were around me, that were like, retail shows do not prepare you at all for this kind of show.
Yeah, it sounds totally different.
And it's not even like, it's not just about like, oh cool, it was fun. Like, it's like all about like making some damn money, like the whole time. It's like make sales, make contacts, make sales, make contacts, Wow. It's like, that's what, arguably, yeah, you make friends with the vendors and stuff like that. That's what I did, and I was talking to them most of the time. But it's definitely not just like a fun kickback show,
Yeah, it's like you're there to make money. They charged a lot to be there.
Yeah.
So it's like, geez, yeah, that makes sense to me. Well, cool. Let's move on. Do you want to stay in for this next segment?
You kicking me out?
No, I want you to stay in, but I didn't. You said earlier you weren't sure if you wanted to be. All right, let's do it. Well, we're gonna make room for a special guest. We'll be right back. Well, this is our friend Aaron Hughes. I actually met Aaron at PAX. 2 years ago.
Yep.
Through Roberto. And then...
We met at Gnome Decks. Yeah.
So all these relationships have been forged through cons.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of a nice tie back.
Yeah.
And I asked Aaron to be here today because we wanted to talk about the new Call of Duty game, Black Ops 2. Video games! And just a little history. So Aaron and I met at PAX, which is a video game convention, and I'm a huge Call of Duty player. I play on Xbox, and I've been playing a ton of Modern Warfare 3. And Aaron and I started playing, I think, Black Ops together, right?
Yeah.
And that's really how our friendship blossomed, if you will, into the beautiful flower that it is today.
It is a beautiful flower.
It is a beautiful flower, indeed. And I wanted to have Aaron here to talk about it because Roberto doesn't really play Call of Duty, although he always asks good questions. But this is a really great topic, and I'm really excited to talk about this. So, just to kind of catch you up if you're not in the know, a new Call of Duty Black Ops game is coming out in October, I think.
November.
November?
Yeah.
Because I heard it was October today. So, we knew nothing about the game at all until the last probably 24 hours. They're doing a huge gaming event or I guess a gaming con in Germany called Gamescom, excuse me. And Black Ops is all over it. They're doing multiplayer reveals, and they're talking about the game in detail. So I want to talk about some things that we have seen that we liked, maybe some things that we didn't like, and talk about what we kind of hope for the game. Why don't we talk about the new class system to start with?
Okay. Yeah.
Because that was one of the things that I was most excited about. So if you're not a Call of Duty player, this might bore you and you might want to turn it off now. But if you are, stick with us because this is actually one of the best parts of the new game, I think. So in the previous Call of Duty games, you have a class system, right? Mm-hmm. So you get to set up basically like a category of, or it's almost like a bucket of weapons and grenades and everything. And as you progress throughout the game, you know, you're able to like tweak those things in different ways. And it's stayed pretty, it stayed pretty similar throughout all the different versions of the games. Like
yeah, you have a main weapon, you have a secondary.
Yeah, exactly. You get to carry one grenade. You have some perks that you can add. And the new Call of Duty throws all that out the window, and they give you a 10-point system. Actually, I think they're calling it the 10-point system. Mm-hmm. Where they give you 10 points to spend, and you're able to spend those points in any way you want. So you could spend them all on your very first weapon and nothing else, or you can spend them all on perks and not on your weapons at all. So actually, this is what it looks like. Mm-hmm. Roberto, do you have your camera over here somewhere? Yeah. You're going to help us out so much.
Keep talking.
Okay, so basically you have all these like little squares that you can fill in with stuff. And the cool thing is like you can have a first weapon, and if you want to have a second weapon, you can, but if not, you can spend those points on something else. And they're throwing in this thing that I thought was really cool called wild cards. And I think they're going to go down here, right? So let's say you get to have one perk 1, one perk 2, one perk 3, which basically increase your skill levels in some way in the game. But now you're going to be able to buy a perk that lets you, or buy a wild card with one of your points that lets you have an extra perk in each category. So you could do 2 perks in category 1, 2 perks in category 2, 2 perks in category 3. Let me ask you, dude, what was your favorite thing that you saw about this so far? Like, what did you think?
You know, I think that you had touched on the fact that realistically, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 1 all the way to Modern Warfare 3, which there were 5 games, total. It's been the exact same structure pretty much.
Right.
And with this one, the thing I like about it is we can take a look at what we have up right now. The person doesn't even have a perk 3, which that's kind of weird.
That's a great point, yeah.
He's not even using a perk 3, so he's using a perk 1, 2 perk 2s, and then he has 2 attachments to his first weapon. It's very unique, and I think that it's a very interesting structure that they're going with. Mm-hmm. I think that I'm going to like it, and I trust Treyarch, because Infinity Ward, I think with Modern Warfare 3, we've complained about it a lot off air. I think that they're going to do a really good job with this, and it's going to really raise the bar for all FPSs going forward.
Well said. I'm going to have Aaron on more often. Yeah, I think one of the cool things about the class systems that I liked, the new class system, is that the fact that before, like you said, you had to have a secondary weapon. You had to have at least one perk from each category. And now you don't. If you want to have, just a perk 1 and 2 and no perk 3, that's fine. And you can spend those points that you save on other items. Like you can increase the amount of attachments you put on your gun and so on and so forth. So I really think I'm going to like this too. They mentioned that they're developing this. When they were developing this game, they were really critical about the things that were in the game and how they could make them more customizable and still keep the core parts of the game that needed to be there. And I think that's really, really cool because Treyarch has been really heavily, we're really heavy into customizing options even since Black Ops, the first one. And that's something that Infinity Ward, the creators of Modern Warfare 2 and 3, were never really into. I mean, in the Black Ops game, you were able to customize all sorts of stuff. And then you hit Modern Warfare 3.
Face paint.
Yeah, face paint. I mean, everything. And your reticle inside like your scope or something, you could change its color and its shape. And in Modern Warfare, you can't change anything. It's like what they give you is what they give you, and you can mix and match the things that they give you. But that's as far as the customization goes. So I'm really excited about this. Really excited.
Yeah.
Really excited. So I should also mention. Wait, what are you gonna say?
Oh, I was gonna say another thing too is to talk about a little bit with the gameplay. You watched the 51-minute.
Probably like 10 times. Yeah.
What was it?
It was a multiplayer video. It got leaked out.
Oh, really?
And
it got pulled, and
yeah,
then it got put on like another account.
Yeah.
And one of the things I noticed in there, and I made sure to pause it just to make sure, because this was something we were really critical about with Modern Warfare 3, and that was, in playing Domination, it doesn't tell you how many caps you have. Instead, you have to you have to take out your phone, and you have to take a look on their Elite app to see how many captures you had in Domination.
So stupid.
And it's one of those things that you don't notice until it's taken away from you. And like with Black Ops, you could take a look and you could be like, well, why did we lose that game? Well, Erfon, you only had 1 cap that game. You already
that's because I worry about what I'm doing. I don't care what you guys are doing.
And so that was one of the things that I enjoyed about it. I noticed in there while looking at it, it tells you your kills, your deaths, your caps, your defense. And that's something I really like.
Yeah, so as long as we're on that point, so one of the other big things that they're changing are the kill streak rewards are going away. So in previous games, like if you killed like 4 or 5 guys without dying, you would get a little reward for that. Like sometimes a great reward for that. And in the new Black Ops, they are getting rid of that and they're making it more of a point-based system. So you get kill streaks for getting points. And depending on what game you're playing, what game mode you're playing, the points that you get for doing different things can change. So if you're playing Domination, where you have to, capture the flag and hold it, like when you capture the flag or the flag area, you get more points for that than you do when you just kill a guy, which is awesome because it's supposed to make the game more team oriented. Whereas now it's like when you have guys playing that game type, all they do is hang back and just shoot people, right? Because it makes it easy for them to pick guys off because guys are trying to capture that area and they don't care about that area. They just want to shoot you when you get there, right? So it kind of makes them more accountable to the team for that type of stuff. And I think you're also going to get a lot more points for things that you never really got points for before in any of these games, like assists and like doing things that actually help your team like reach their objectives. Like I know there's this cool shield that they're adding where you can kind of like plant cover and it gives you cover for your team. And I was reading that if one of your teammates gets cover from that item and like a bullet misses him because of it, it's like you get points for that.
Yeah.
And like those points contribute to your kill streak perks, which is awesome because that's the way it should work, right? It's like if you're actually going to help your team do stuff, like you should be getting points for that and not just points for when you kill guys.
And that's really expanding off the Modern Warfare 3 because in there, if you, in Domination, for example, if you captured a point, you got a point reward for that. And
that's true.
If you took out a helicopter or UAV, you got a point for that. Because that made it, in Black Ops, when we played that, nobody ever took out the helicopters. No one cared to because it was
arguably they never do it now either.
Yeah, it's true. But
well, it's always you and me that do it. Why don't you carry a rocket launcher?
I know.
Damn it. Just carry a rocket launcher. How hard is it?
I feel the same way.
Actually, a lot of my classes don't have it now.
But for the most part, though, you have so many people who don't care about the objective, and this will give an incentive to want to play the objective-based.
Yeah,
games.
let's hope so. I mean, it's just Black Ops, I just think this is so ironic, and we've talked about this before. It's Treyarch, the developers of Black Ops, have always been the off-year game creators. Like, Infinity Ward was the, like, game company, right? And they would make the Modern Warfare games, which were arguably the most popular games from the Call of Duty series. And then the next year, so they released one every year. So it would be a Call of Duty, Modern Warfare, and then Treyarch would release a game. And then Infinity Ward would release another, Modern Warfare game. And then Treyarch would release a game. And Treyarch was never the popular company. Like, their games never sold as well. And then they came out with Black Ops, which everyone loved. And then Infinity Ward had this huge mix-up. And a bunch of people got fired. And it took, like, 3 gaming companies working together to even finish the new Modern Warfare 3 game. And it has a lot of problems.
Yeah.
And let's talk about a little bit about those. And these are things that we kind of are hoping that are going to be fixed in the new Black Ops 2. So the first thing is the theater mode. You may not use theater mode. Let me describe it to you if you don't know what it is. It basically allows you to replay games and watch the footage after the game is over. And in Black Ops, you could watch it from any player's perspective in first person. So if I was fighting you, Roberto,
for the whole game.
For the whole entire game. And if we were fighting and you killed me in a ridiculous way, I could be like, dude, how did you do that? And I could watch the game from your perspective, and I could be like, oh, dude, he's camping this area. I need to go camp that area. Like, that's how he's doing it. Modern Warfare 3 comes out, and the theater mode is
broken.
Absolute crap. It's broken, it doesn't work, and they never even bother to fix it. And you can only watch games from your own perspective. And even when you're doing that, the game is interrupted by like death what do they call those things? Kill cam scenes. So, like, it shows how you got killed whenever you die. If you try to watch it in somebody else's perspective, it shows it in third person. So you just see their guy running around. But the problem with that is that you can't actually see what's happening.
You can't see what they're seeing.
You can't see what they're seeing. All you see is them running around, which just looks dumb. Like, it doesn't help you in any way. So Black Ops 2 are integrating an entire, like, esports mode, which we don't really know a ton about yet. But it basically allows you to watch the game through its entirety. I mean, from any perspective, first person, third person. Not only that, you can tune in and watch live games just like you can Netflix. It's like you can watch games that other people are playing that you're not even involved in. And then they also are going to allow people to commentate the game. So, like, you could have people describing what's going on. So they're adding, like, a really competitive esports I want to call it module, but that's not what it is. They're baking in an esports functionality into the game so that you're going to be able to watch games competitively that are played and, like, really, like, watch pro players to see what they're doing. I think it's sad, the fact that we have pro video game players and the fact that they even call it esports. I love that you can call a game esports, which is a bunch of chubby dudes sitting in a room that's dark playing video games, and it's called esports.
Hands are getting exercise.
Yeah, they have, like, the most, like, defined hands. A lot more details are coming out right now. The Gamescom is going on until Saturday. I think this is amazing. You can watch the entire, like, all the events on your Xbox. Go to the Black Ops 2 app, and you can watch all this stuff and see it as it's happening, or watch stuff that's been recorded already. I feel like I'm missing something, but that might be everything that we know so far.
Yeah, and I mean, some of the stuff that we have, some information that I sent to you yesterday was leaked, and that's not confirmed, but it's, the probable, it's very probable.
Right.
So,
I mean, we're going to be learning about all this stuff in the next 2-3 days, I think.
Yeah. I'm excited for Black Ops 2. I think that it's going to be just leaps and bounds much better than Modern Warfare 3. And I think it'll be better than Modern Warfare, or better than Black Ops also.
Well, I hope the two big things that I'm really hoping for, and these have been two massive problems with Modern Warfare 3, is level design. The level design in Modern Warfare 3 is I don't want to say terrible, but it's close. Like, the levels, there's not very many good levels, and they're all really crowded with a bunch of crap that you just don't need, and they're overly complicated. And I never really met anyone that loves them. So I'm really hoping that Treyarch brings some common sense to the level design and really brings out some good levels.
And we've seen some of the levels already with that multiplayer video.
We have, but it's always hard to tell from watching these videos until you've actually played a level. Like, I mean, I saw that guy running down that thing. It looked like an airplane fuselage.
That level
That kind of reminded
okay,
me of
but-
Black Box, and I was
Yeah.
like, Black Box isn't one of my favorite levels, so I'm not really sure what to think about that. And then the other thing, and the other huge thing is lag comp.
Yes.
Which, if anyone who's ever, if you follow me on Twitter, you probably know what lag comp is, because it is the bane of my video game playing experience. And if you don't know what it is, it's basically these video game companies try to compensate for people having different connection speeds. So
You've talked about this before, right?
Yeah.
so if Aaron's connection speed's faster than mine, he is going to get comped in the game, which means he's going to be slowed down. So he's going to see me after I see him. His reaction times aren't going to count as fast as mine. And the video game publishers never want to talk about this. They admit that it exists, but they don't actually give you any information on it. And in Modern Warfare 3, it is terrible. I mean, there are days where I actually had to stop playing the game because as soon as a guy appears on my screen, like within a millisecond, I'm dead. And then the replay shows him running around the corner, and there I am just standing there, and then he runs up to me and stabs me. And it's like, and on what I see is, bloop, he appears around a corner and instantly I'm dead. It's like I appeared on his screen before he appeared on mine. That's a major problem in a game where milliseconds count. You know, like you're doing things in such a hectic fashion. Like you need to make sure that, like, if a person isn't on your screen, they're not able to shoot at you. And that happens all the time. Like you'll get shot in Modern Warfare 3, and then a guy comes around the corner, and that's the guy who shot you. It's like, well, how the hell did he shoot you? He wasn't even on your screen.
And that happened in Black Ops too, but it wasn't
nearly as bad.
Nowhere near as bad as in Modern Warfare 3.
Yeah, and they have tried to tweak the lag comp issues probably 10 times now, and they keep changing it, and it never gets any better. And I feel like actually what happens is, like, some days, you know, it'll be fine, and then some days it'll be terrible, and then some days it goes back and forth. Like, we'll be in games where we're dominating a team, and then all of a sudden it's like a switch is turned on, and you can't shoot guys. Like, you'll shoot them, and you won't get any hit markers. You'll shoot guys, they'll never die, and then they, snipe you with their shotgun from halfway across the level. It's like all of a sudden everything just switches.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really gonna be the big thing. Like, if they add all those other changes to Black Ops 2 that we're really looking for, but if you still can't shoot a guy and have it count, it's like,
that's the biggest thing, because you need to be able to play the game and have fun while you do it.
yeah. And I don't want to rage quit anymore.
I don't either.
I mean, there's nothing on this earth that makes me madder than Modern Warfare 3. I know that's sad to admit, but I rage. Like when I'm shooting a guy in the face and he's running at me, and I'm just like shooting him, and he just runs up and stabs me. It's like, I've never thrown a controller, but it makes me want to do that. It makes me want to just throw my Xbox out the door and into the street, and then take a big poop on it.
Well, after it's November 13th when the game comes out, so when that happens, I'll come over and we'll do a recap about why this game is the worst game ever.
Yeah.
And Modern Warfare 3 is
much better, right? That seems to be the way it goes. But in any case, you can obviously pre-order Black Ops 2 now, and if you do, you get the free Nuketown map with it, which is dumb. They're just obviously doing that to make you buy it ahead of time. But they'll probably give it to you anyway once you buy the game. And then the other thing that we haven't really heard anything about, which I think is interesting, is the fact that Elite is a big part of Modern Warfare 3, and they haven't even mentioned it at all for Black Ops 2. So I'm like, does Elite still count?
I think that it is. My impression is that a lot of people are very upset with how Elite was launched. Mm-hmm. Realistically, it didn't launch for the first couple of weeks that Modern Warfare 3 was out. We were having issues getting on. And then after that, one of the biggest things was you were supposed to get maps, and then there were clan challenges. And the clan challenges didn't even happen until like February, and even then it was broken, so it got pushed back to like March or April. And so it wasn't even that great of a system to start off with. I think they're trying to distance themselves. It's like, hey, we have this great new game.
They are.
Well, I think they're saying, we have this great new game. Elite's going to be there too. But look at the great new game.
Yeah.
Look at the great new game.
Esports module. Yeah. Elite's there too as well. But here's the thing. I mean, like Elite shows you all. For those of you that don't know what Elite is, it does two things. It gives you content for free, even though you're paying for it ahead of time when it comes out, and usually ahead of time before anyone else can buy it. And then it's also a service that allows you to like look at your statistics on an iPhone app, on the web, and then you get to have a clan, which is just a group of guys that fight together, and they can level up their clan as a group. And it was a huge part of Modern Warfare 3, and it cost, I think, $40, $50 a year. And they really pushed it, and now all of a sudden it's like they're saying nothing about it. And it's like, well, my Elite membership's about to run out. Like, do I have any reason to renew it? Because I really don't want to pay the extra money. But Elite does a lot of things that we think should be done in the game anyway. Like, there's no reason you should have to look at your statistics for the game outside of the game. Why should I have to boot up my iPhone to look at my kill count for a game? Why shouldn't I be able to just look at that inside the game? And Treyarch has always included that stuff in the game.
Yeah, I'll be upset if they take it out.
I don't think they will. Treyarch would be stupid to do that. I mean, like, I don't think they're going to go through I don't think they're trying to be like Modern Warfare. I think they're trying to define themselves as the big player in the franchise now and be that go-to company and that creates the game that everyone's actually excited about. Because I don't think I'm going to be excited for the next Modern Warfare. In fact, the Black Ops 2 game is Modern Warfare.
Yeah.
It's more modern than
Actually,
Modern
isn't it
Warfare.
Futuristic.
It's more like Future Warfare, yeah. But, you know, I'm sure we'll have drones and stuff attacking people in the future. Yeah. We didn't even really talk about any of the kill streak rewards. But I don't think we really know much about those yet in order to be able to talk about them. But I do encourage you to download the Black Ops 2 app and follow the Gamescom footage because if you're into Call of Duty, because it's really fascinating and they're revealing all sorts of stuff. Roberto, are you gonna get the game?
No.
No? You don't want to play with us?
Come on, you don't want to join our clan? You sure?
Maybe I'll get it.
Have you been playing anymore? That you got your Xbox fixed?
I got it fixed and then I had to go to the trade show for 4 days.
He was on the other day.
I'm not joking. I think I am literally catching a cold as we're doing this episode. Have you guys noticed how stuffy I've been getting?
Yeah, thanks. I'm getting married in a week, and
I
just
sneezed into
I'm
my
right next to you.
Yeah.
Either that, or I don't know what's going on. Maybe my allergies are just kicking in. But I'm like, since we started the show, my face is getting more and more congested, and I've almost had to sneeze like 6 times.
Maybe it's my cologne.
I think it's time.
It
to
might
go.
be you. I think I'm allergic to all your hair products. All right, well, that's a good place to wrap it up. Thanks for watching.
All right, guys.
Yeah.
Oh.
All we need is an explosion. So you're obviously Alex Albrecht.
I was thinking it was more like Dan Trachtenberg.
Yeah, you
His
think
looks
so?
and everything.
Oh.
Dude, when I made that comment that I was Alex, I was speaking about our knowledge, not our looks.
Oh, why would I bring up us based on knowledge?
I don't know, because we're all intelligent men. And I was like, well, I'm obviously I'm our games guy, right? No, I was Alex Albrecht, wasn't I? I was like, I'm the kind of guy that knows about like lots of different stuff, but not really a lot about a lot of stuff.
I don't know.
Because you're the comic books guy.
I like comics. I'm big into gaming too, so I would be more like Jeff Kanata.
I guess that's true. And then you were Dan Trachtenberg by default.
Yeah. Because
I think you're also his height. Yeah, and you're kind of scruffy
Yeah.
like he always is,
So
right?
that's why I was like, I got mine, but I don't know. I thought that you would be Jeff.
I don't feel like I would be because Jeff is super knowledgeable about video games.
I just meant like in a photo.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm in great shape. I'm obviously very tall.
Super tall. Yeah.
Super tall. I'm like 6 foot.
All right.
Hi.
Well, I think we're done.
Yeah, let's wrap it up. So hey, if we wanted to follow you on
Twitter.
you're very popular on Twitter. So
I am.
I think it's because of all the clever things that you say.
I have 20,000 followers, which is crazy.
Which is more than both of us combined.
Yeah, it's at AP Hughes.
Cool.
Okay, is there no weird number after that?
Nope.
Okay. And if we wanted to learn more about Throwboy, Roberto, where would we go?
Throwboy.com, and my Twitter is just at Roberto Hoyos, RobertoHoyos.
Cool, and I'm at Erfon, and if you're interested in Mike Tees is MIGHTTEES.com, or the same word on Twitter. I think I need to go take some cold medicine.
All right.
We will catch you guys next time. Thanks for watching User Friendly.
Oh, subscribe to us on iTunes.
Oh, yeah, and youtube.com/user friendly show. Thanks for watching.